Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that might seriously change the way you think about yourself. We are talking all about the science of being a deep processor.
So let me just ask you something right off the bat. Do you ever feel like you're just wired differently? Like you're picking up on all this extra information from the world, stuff that everyone else seems to be tuning out?
Maybe you're the person who always catches that tiny flicker of an expression on someone's face, or a big social gathering that leaves everyone else buzzing just leaves you feeling totally drained. Maybe you take a little longer to make a decision because you're busy thinking through every single angle, or you find yourself just, pondering the deeper meaning of it all. And art or music? Wow, it can hit you on a whole other level. If you're nodding along to any of this, then you are in exactly the right place.
Well, that feeling? It's not just you being overly sensitive or thinking too much, which I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times. No, there's actually a real scientific name for this experience. And just putting a name to it can be a total game changer.
That name is deep processor. Now, here's the most important part, so listen close. This is a trait. It is not a disorder. It is not a flaw or something that needs to be fixed. It's simply a variation in your brain's wiring, a different operating system, if you will, that causes you to process absolutely everything more deeply.
So this trait really rests on 4 key pillars. First, there's the depth of processing. That's the tendency to really mull things over. Second, over-arousability, which is just a fancy way of saying you get overstimulated more easily. Third is emotional intensity. You just feel things, both good and bad, with a lot more oomph. And finally, sensory sensitivity. You're just more tuned in to things like bright lights, subtle sounds, or strong smells.
Okay, so we've got a name for it, we know the 4 main parts. But what is actually going on inside your head? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the actual science behind it.
But before we get to the brain scans, you need to know this number. It's about 20%, or 1 out of every 5 people. That's how many of us are deep processors. Think about that. You're not some rare exception. You are part of a pretty significant minority. You are not alone in this at all.
And let's be super clear on something. This isn't about the quantity of your thoughts. It's not that you're thinking more than other people. It's that you're thinking deeper. Your brain isn't just skimming the headlines. It's reading the full article, the footnotes, and then cross-referencing it with everything else it knows.
So, where is this happening? Well, one of the hotspots is an area called the insula. You can think of it as your brain's center for empathy and self-awareness. And studies show that in deep processors, this area just lights up more. That helps explain why you might literally feel what other people are feeling.
And then there's the amygdala. This is your brain's emotional alarm system. In deep processors, it tends to be a lot more reactive. It's like having a top-of-the-line smoke detector. It's amazing at picking up on subtle emotional cues, but yeah, it can also go off a little more intensely when things get stressful.
I love this analogy for it. It's like your brain is a high-performance engine. It's incredibly powerful, right? It notices every little bump and detail in the road. But that power comes with a trade-off. It burns through more fuel, your mental and emotional energy, and if you don't take care of it, it can definitely overheat.
And that engine analogy perfectly sets up this next part. Because for every amazing thing about being a deep processor, there's a flip side, a challenge. So let's talk about the 2 sides of this coin, your superpowers and, well, your kryptonite. And look how they're directly connected. That incredible deep empathy you have, it's amazing for building relationships, but it can also lead straight to emotional burnout. Your high creativity comes from seeing connections no one else does, but that same trait can make you prone to feeling overwhelmed. And that gut feeling, your strong intuition, an amazing guide for sure, but it can also get you stuck overthinking every little choice. It really is a balancing act.
Okay, so you get it now. You understand the wiring. So what? What do you do with this knowledge? How do we go from just understanding it to actually thriving with it? That's what this is all about, empowerment.
It really boils down to learning how to manage your system. This isn't about fighting who you are. It's about giving your high-performance brain the right conditions to run smoothly. Scheduling downtime isn't a luxury, it's essential maintenance. Creating a calm space isn't being picky, it's just smart. Setting boundaries protects your energy. And maybe the biggest one, reframing your sensitivity, seeing it not as a weakness but as your own personal source of incredible insight. That right there changes the whole game.
I really want this to sink in. Your trait is not a flaw that needs fixing. It's not a bug. It is your operating system. The whole goal is to stop trying to fix it and to finally read the user manual, to understand how it works so you can get the absolute best out of it.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. For so long we're told to be less sensitive, to toughen up. But what if that's all wrong? What if that thing you were told was a weakness, your sensitivity, is actually the source of your greatest power? What would change for you if you really truly started to believe that?